Okay, so I'm working on the antenna a little bit. I got one of the pipes all drilled out, although one of the booms drilled out. These are 7/32 holes right now, just pilot holes for my 1/4 inch. I still have to come up with a mount for the driven element, so we're just marking them. That way, when I put it back in the Bridgeport, I can use the drill bit to index them, and that way I know I'm square, and when I drill, it'll be right on. So my first hole is here for the reflector. I'll index that and hit 0 on the DRO, and then from there all the measurements will be right on. So these I actually did in millimeters because that's what the calculator spits it out in. These are all done in the 2-meter element holders are done in SAE or American fractional inch measurements. So that's that for that. So I'll show you how I set it up. Hang on a second. Okay, so the first thing I do is I put it in the Bridgeport. This is overkill for what I'm doing. I mean, this is a serious metalworking machine. It's not a drill press. I mean, that's a drill press over there. And even this one, this is a South Bend. It's heavy cast iron drill press. Then I got the lathe over here for doing other work, and then you got this little baby Craftsman, which is probably what most people have. So anyway, the first thing I had to do is we know that these element holders are going to be out 90 degrees from one another. So if I want the 70 centimeter elements to be straight in the middle here, I gotta index this to 45 degrees. So what I like to do is I'll take a piece of one of my cut off fiberglass rods here, and I'll slip it through the hole. Of course, this one I didn't. Hang on a second. Oh, that's not the one I was using. I didn't grind the end of that one. We'll use this one. So I'll slip this through the hole, and you can see it's a tight fit, yo. Hang on a second. Let me get this in here. Okay, I shoved it in there. I didn't hammer it in. I just shoved it in there. So let's see. All right. So what I need to do now is I'll take my angle finder here, and we'll throw this on this element holder, and we want to find 45 degrees. I guess it helps if I put my glasses on. So I'm going to set this to 45 degrees. And then we'll, okay, so we got to go up. 45 is more or less right about there. A little bit of a parallax, but that's okay. I'll make sure this is set in all the way. Oh, it was up a little bit. Let's try it again. Take another look. Should be 45. Well, good enough. Okay, and then I'm going to take the vise, and I'll tighten her down just a little bit on the workpiece. All right, so now this is all, it's in there good now. And that's in the trash. Let me get that. Be right back. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to set the DRO. This is my digital readout, my linear scale. This will do both metric and imperial measurements. I want to find the center line of this pipe here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a center finder, and I'll touch the outside. Hang on a second. What are you getting into, dog? All right, here, you want to go inside? He pulls the recycling out and plays with it. Go on. Now you don't want to go in, huh? Oh, jeez. Always something. Hang on. All right, sorry about that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a center finder, or an edge finder, I'm sorry. Not an edge, it's an edge finder. You can use it for finding the center of things too, but this little tool here, oh man, come out. Always something here, you know? Try to do this in one take, but you just can't. All right, so I've got this edge finder, and this tool goes in the chuck here. Actually, it's supposed to go in a collet, but this is whatever. We're not really doing any precision work here. Basically, this will spin, and when it touches the side of the workpiece, it'll kick out, and then I'll zero the DRO for that edge. Here, I'll show you. Let me get this chucked up right back. Okay, so let's find the edge of this workpiece. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down, and then I'll turn on the spindle, and then I'll start to wobble. And as I bring it in, you'll see it touch. Let me just try this again. Kick that out here. There we go. And come in, and settle her out. Come on, little guy. Hold on a minute. And it'll touch and it'll kick out. Touching. Come on. Once it kicks out, there we go. Kicked out. So that end of that workpiece will set up here on the DRO, 0. So now we know that the edges or the end of the workpiece is found. So now we want to see the sides of the workpiece. We're going to do the y-axis now. So we're going to go in and do this. So I'm going to go in 1 inch because that's where my 0 mark usually was sitting. Or that's when I was working on it. I put the 0 at 1 inch. So let's go to 1 inch here. 93, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and come on, 0. Okay, 1 inch. So if this is right, I should be right over top of my other mark, which is pretty off actually. This isn't cut square, so that's probably why. But we'll take that. Doesn't matter. Hang on a second. Okay. Well, we don't care about the end. I readjusted it, and I'm centered on my 1 inch mark from my previous. That's my index from when I first started the job. So what I need to do really is I want to know the center line of this pipe. So we're going to go ahead and run this again. We're going to do the y-axis now. So we're going to hit this. You're going to see the wobblers going. We'll bring it in. And as soon as it kicks out, all right, just kicked out. We'll go up here and we'll zero the DRO on the y-axis. So that's 0. We'll go to the other side. Bring the workpiece over like this. We'll drop this down. We lock it. There we go. And I'll lock the quill. Okay. And once again, I'll bring it in. Bring it in. It'll just touch. It'll straighten out, and then it'll kick out. There we go. Now, if I look at the DRO, 1.5175. So it's 1.5 inches on the outer diameter of this pipe. So we know that 1.5 inches, half of 1.5 inches is 0.75. So we'll bring this in to minus 0.75. Oops, sorry, 0.75. 0.73, 4, and 5. There we go. Go down here. We'll lock the y-axis so it doesn't move. 0.75. And now we are on the center line of the workpiece. You see? So we're good to go there. And that's where we're going to start drilling down the line. Just a second here. We'll go to the cut scene. Oh, I also forgot. Now we're going to zero the y. So if this moves, if this y-axis moves either way, we can get it back where we are and be on the center line. So we're going to 0 x, we're going to 0 y, and we're going to switch to metric because now we're doing millimeters, right? So I'm going to come in. We're already in 1 inch from the edge. So we're going to drill our first hole here. That'll be 0 mark on the, why is this camera so blue? Hold on a second. There we go. We're going to drill our reflector here, and then we'll start working our way down the boom. Okay. All right, reflector is drilled, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to now go up to the driven element, which is 115 millimeters away from the back of the boom. So let's go and rotate to 115. 115 is what we're looking for here. And we'll keep moving. I do have hold on a second, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, come on. There we go, 115. So now we're going to go ahead and drill our driven element. Yep. Hey, be careful when you're drilling in this chuck. I don't have a parallel underneath this pipe, so I'm drilling right into the chuck if I go too far. All right, so the next one up is the director one is at 165. So we're going to go up 50 millimeters. 165. Where am I going? 3, 4, 165 right on the dot. We'll punch this one out. Okay, 165. So now what's going to happen is the next one, the next hole is at 330, but I'm not sure. That's way over here. So we're going to need to, actually no, I think I can reach it. Let's try it real quick. Just a moment, let me roll it up here. All right, you see I drilled the 330 a little bit lighter because it's sticking out from the chuck. and that could cause a problem because the pipe bends, you know, and you don't want to be off. But I'm not using the final size drill bit, so it's okay here. So now it's going to get tricky because I don't want to drill anymore if it's sticking out too far, so I have to re-index it. So basically I'm going to bring the entire table to the left, and then I'm going to bring this hole to the right. That way the next hole will be over here somewhere and I can actually index it. So let me do that. I'll show you what we're going to do here. I'm going to loosen the chuck, move the table. I'm going to traverse the table all the way to the left, and then we'll index this hole again over here and take it from there. Just a moment. Okay, so what I did, just like I said, I moved the table all the way to the left. I brought the boom over this way, and I used a drill bit to help re-index the angle or the pitch of the boom in the mill, because to bring out the stubby element holder to do it again is silly. You know, it's already, I got two square holes, and so I just punched the drill bit through it, not punched, but I plunged the drill bit through manually, just, you know, use it as an index, and then I set the pipe down inside the chuck and did that. So now this is my zero mark. So what we need to do now is we need to find out where we are. We got reflector, driven element, director 1, director 2. So from director 2 to director 3, it needs to be at 545. So unfortunately, this is now 0. So we have to figure out the difference between 330 and 545, and that'll be how many millimeters we need to move. So because I'm an idiot, I'm going to go 545 minus 330, and that is simply, 545 minus 330. That is simply 215 millimeters. So from here, we're going to zero the DRO. We're going to say, okay, boom, we're now at 0. I'm going to go back 215 millimeters, and that will take us to director 3. So we're going to go 215, was it? Did I say 215? Yeah, let me check that again. I'll check it in just a second. Measure twice, cut once, right? 215. 1, 2, 3, 4, 215. Come on. And I roll it in. Very, very hard to get it right on, but there we go. It's a little bit fiddly. So let's go ahead and confirm our measurements again. It's a 545 minus 330. And that is 215, and that's right where we are. So let's go ahead and drop this one in. Okay. So 215, got it. Good, good, good. So the next one's going to be over at 785. So we're at 545. So we're going to go 785 minus 545. And that's going to bring us 240. So we'll go another 240. So we'll zero here. We'll go back on the 240. And we'll see if we can get there. Those last two elements I couldn't punch back out. They were too jammed. So fortunately they're just hanging there, which is good. They're out of the way. But we'll see what happens once we get to... Oh man, I'm out of travel. I'm out of travel on the table. I'm all the way out. So I'm going to have to re-index this hole further down over here. Just a moment. Okay, there we go. 240 on the DRO from this point here back over. Drill this director 4. Okay, and I don't have a lot of room, so I'm going to have to go one more indexing to bring this hole over here. That way we could do director 5 over here. Okay, and the same thing as before, we zeroed the DRO, and I got to go back 175 millimeters. Now I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it because it looks like that might tap, but we'll see. We'll see. 175. Oh, come on. We're at 120. It's rubbing. 145, 150, 160, 170, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy. Yeah, it's bending it, but that's okay. It's fiberglass. We just got to go a couple more. Come on. There we go. 175. A little spring loaded here, but that's okay. Bump that back. Come on. 75. Okay. We'll hit that. All right. Boy, that's a tight one. it's a little bent there. Drill this one and we're done. All right. There we go. That's all the all the holes for antenna 2. we're good. We're good. So now I could just, I've got to get my pipe still, my tubing, and I need to come up with both a design for the element, the wire holders for the 2-meter elements, and the driven element holder for the 70 centimeters. We're going to start modeling that probably this afternoon, and maybe get those printed off tonight. All right, guys, well, that's it for now. And there you go. That's how I drill my antennas. Catch you later.